yes, I'm gonna hit 24 next month, which, oh boy, I'm not necessarily gonna sit here and lie. I just feel like we're at a point in time, at least for me personally, where we need to conquer some damn goals. I need to conquer some damn goals. If I say I want to go ahead and hit 10k, we gotta hit 10k. If it means I gotta eat some ass of my female viewers, then I'll eat your ass. Pull it down! I was really trying to scratch my head and figure out what the hell do I talk about. And that's when it hit me. I was like, yo, I've been seeing a lot of Pan content, a lot of Gwen, a lot of like Toph and whatever. And essentially, I was just like, what if we just look through the internet and then see how much content exists of these characters and who is the most popular one. And besides doing those couple of ones I already chosen for this video, I also want to talk about like some other ones when it comes down to like who's actually in the top of both World of the 4 and ATF, which is where you get your mostly get your lolly content from. So that's just how it is. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised about some of this stuff when it comes down to it. And then I'm also kind of gonna go ahead and talk about what characters I would have liked to see, you know, get thrown into the mix, at least when it comes to the lolly side, you know, because we can go all day talking about just regular characters to just offer up. Now for this video, I'm actually gonna select 5 different ones, and mainly because one is, I would say, like probably the most iconic anime lolly of all time, and then also I picked the other ones because in terms of Gentai, that's all you ever really see on the lolly side of things, and that's gonna be Pan, Toph, Sarda, Gwen, and Kana. Those are my 5. And more so on everybody else but Kana, because let's just keep very much stacked. Again, Kana is by far one of the most popular lolly characters you will ever really see within the space of anime, so it's not gonna be any type of surprising if they are actually like the top person with the most Gentai content. And why those 4 other characters? And again, specifically, it's because I keep seeing them all the dang time. And really, out of anybody, I would say I've seen the most, it's for sure gonna be someone like Gwen, right? Because Gwen, again, I feel like she could be tossed with any character, tag teamed up with any character, and somehow still makes the whole set of the picture looks mad hot. If we kick Kana out this list, Gwen is deadass probably the most hoish lolly that we ever really had. I mean, just in tons of different material and art, popularity wise. People still to this day don't understand why Gwen is so damn popular, and it could be for plenty of reasons. One, you can't really beat the OG version of this character because there's plenty of other characters, or at least version of the character that kind of sucks ass. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Very rarely will you have a future version of that character just slap hard. It's a rarity. It's kind of like an April O'Neil situation. Nothing beats the 90s, but 2012 version, you know, that's a peak ass version of April, I ain't gonna lie. And potentially the other reason why Gwen is so popular is because apparently she has like still like a lot of personality, sassy, and honestly her design slaps way more than any other version, which I agree with. Gwen by far out of anybody doesn't surprise me. That fact that they have probably the most content within every aspect of the character in just any lolly that's out there, if I'm gonna be absolutely honest. Because if you take World of the 4 and you take ATF Boru and you mix up both the results of the scores of how much content they both have, it's ridiculous. Because Gwen comes out with a whopping 20,063.
Damn! I'm sorry.
Like, I'm not necessarily going to sit here and lie. That's a lot. Now, granted, yes, that does mean that this also includes duplicates, AI, and all this other stuff too. But to keep it very much a stack, that's still putting her over a lot of her competitors when it comes down to who has the most amount of content out of anybody. And that's saying a lot, considering at least between both of the two sites, if we compare this to someone like Kana. Kana doesn't have that much nearly. She doesn't even reach the double digits of the thousands. That's kind of crazy to me. So I think it's fair to say that Gwen of all the lollies is possibly the most clapped, free use, public use, on the daily, every single hour type of lolly that can get D down all the dang time, because she is just that renowned. She has been around the block multiple times, and she probably had sex with you and you probably didn't even know it yet. And then we look at second place, and then that's when you get Sarda, which is really no surprise. If you take Rule 34 and ATF Borough all together, you get 9,816, which is not necessarily that bad. And out of the group of these characters, she's the most popular one. She's the most popular one behind Gwen when it comes down to it. And does that surprise anybody? I don't really think it does, considering how many people were, also in the same boat as me when they saw Naruto for the first time, saw how fine Sakura was, and was like, oh hell yeah, gotta dig that down immediately. So when it comes down to it, is it a giant surprise? No, not nearly and not absolutely at all. Like, if anybody from Naruto is supposed to be on the list of popular Gentai that you could possibly get that could or should even crack 10,000 content pieces, it's most likely going to be Sarda. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I know people will very much be like, oh, my Tsunade and things like that, but sure, possibly they have maybe some over than, Sarda does. And as I just typed in real quick, yes, Tsunade does. She got like 24,000. But when it comes down to it though, that is still pretty damn impressive for Sarda. A relatively new-ish character, by the way, who pretty much beats out the other couple of competition. Because when it comes down to the third place position, that's when you get Kana to come through. That's literally when you jump into Kana, because overall she only has 7,532. So it's not necessarily that bad, but you would kind of expect more for a lot of character that basically everybody in anime pretty much knows, So I feel like that's a bit of a shame. Granted, I'm not the biggest Kana person, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, Kana offers cheeks. I deny myself that because I'm a right man. Hell no. Clapped on Dragon Cheeks immediately, right? Everybody in Dragon Maid can pretty much get it. We're gonna turn freaking Toru and Miss Koyabashi like effing straight by the time I get there. Like, it's gonna be effing over with. But that's just kind of the dang point though. It's just like, yeah, pretty much you should definitely clap the Dragon Cheeks. And it's fair to see that, people are definitely been clapping them for some time now, with at least the 7,000s of content that she has. And then right nearly behind her, by I want to say 200, is Toph. So Toph has combined with everything, 7,320. That's not bad. That's not bad. Not the greatest score. I genuinely thought Toph was going to be a bit more larger on the list, but I don't even think Toph cracks the top 10. If I remember correctly, I don't think Toph cracks top 10 in ATF Borough at all, which is a bit sad. And granted, this is just, again, Rule 34 and ATF together. So it's kind of sad that she doesn't really get to crack the 10,000, because of all the characters I would have thought would crack that, you would think she would, and apparently she doesn't, and it kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Which is a bit of a shame, because I'm not gonna lie, Toph, out of really pretty much any lolly that exists ever, is within my top 5, right? So that's a bit of a dang shame. I thought she was gonna have at least way more than that, but apparently she doesn't. And that leaves us with Pan, who unfortunately, across all the sites, has 4,131. That is a damn shame. We had 7,000 to all these other high-ass numbers, and then Pan just significantly has a drop in numbers and all that type of stuff. Now, the only reason why I could think of this being the case is mainly due to the fact there was a long-ass period way back in the early 2000s and way back then where Pan did not get shit. She did not get any type of content for the longest of time. And only in recent years has Pan gotten something going for herself. So that's nice to see, because Pan is very much, late in the game. Even though she's been out for a long period of time, she's been late in the game of just content for a good chunk of time. I remember specifically being like, damn, I wish Pan had more content, only for her to never really have any. And now when you look at things in this day and age, yeah, she's actually getting stuff. It's kind of like how I felt when it came down to Vanilla the Rabbit. I was like, man, Vanilla doesn't have shit. And then nowadays, she's getting tons of content, and it's great. So when it comes down to it, she just has some catching up to do. So I'm not really fully surprised that she's actually lacking behind that damn hard. Now, for me personally, if we had the chance to actually boost up the numbers of certain lolly characters in general, if I had the chance to pick a few, I do have some options and selections, and really I was trying to come up with a whole dang video for tag teams that you could put some lollies into and who like the best tag team you would have, because people very much like to put Sarda and Gwen together, or like Gwen and Toph together back then, and just tag teams like that. But if I were to give anybody some reprieve of just actual like NSW art of who needs it the most, in my personal opinion, and I think you should know what some of the picks are. First off, Jinora. Again, I find it very saddening that Jinora has no content, or at least nothing really substantial to grab at in the major league of things. It kind of pisses me off a high-key sort of standpoint. So that's just how I feel. If anybody deserves the most, I would definitely say Jinora for sure. Then, it will either become between Part 1 Sakura, or it will be Rin Nohara. One of the damn two. I feel like one of these two should definitely get within that same type of category of high numbers like the rest of the damn lollies too. So I'm just gonna chuck that up there for me, and for me alone, if I'm being honest. Then after that, I'm gonna switch shit up. I'm gonna say Jinx for Teen Titans, because Jinx is fine. I obviously see Raven getting content with Gwen, and that's obvious, right? That's like the two dynamic duo, if we're gonna be honest. That being said, what about Jinx fine ass? Jinx fine. You mean to tell me you wouldn't want to clap Jinx? I'll clap Jinx immediately, given the chance. So to keep very much a stack, I feel like Jinx is a valid pick, and no one really thinks about Jinx at all. So I'm kind of pissed about that. And lastly, I could easily very much say Konako, because duh, of course I want to see Konako get some more content. Why the hell wouldn't I? Or literally anybody from Danganronpa as well that's a lolly, because sure, they also could very much use the content. I wouldn't hate that either. But I'm actually going to throw a little bit of a surprise pick on this one. And I'm going to say Jade Chan from Jackie Chan Adventures. Possibly one of the lollies I liked back then the most, or at least future Jade I liked the most, which is kind of crazy to think about now. But when it comes down to it though, Jade don't get anything, right? She's kind of like Penny from Inspector Gadget. She doesn't get anything anymore. And I find that really sad. I find that really sad and annoying, actually, right? So if I'm going to be very honest, I think Jade should get something, right? Because plenty of people, if you were to throw Jade in front of people right now, I guarantee you so many of them will be like, who the hell is this character? Which is baffling to me. So to keep it very much a stat, I would actually like to see Jade get some action in some point, in some way and shape and form, right? It feels wrong to leave Penny and Jade back there, and it's just like when they've been, you know, also a part of the conversation of fine ass lollies like Toph and Gwen, and then they don't really get shit anymore. That feels a bit wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It feels a bit ass. That's just me though. But overall, that is essentially all I want to kind of go over for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know. Or are you surprised at some of these actual numbers for some of these lolly characters? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do actually hit the comments, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because we do about weird ass content like this all the time, because why not? So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the button in case you're on way out, also on socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's me and Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.